Okay, everybody, I love you, of course, as always, I do. To answer your question, what is it like to have MS? It's hard. It's very hard. We have to just hold on to what we have left. Like, when I have a memory come back, I hold on to it as tight as I can and just keep replaying it over and over in my head in hopes that a little bit more will come back with it. Unfortunately, there's years missing, like large chunks missing. And when I get little pieces of those years back, even if it's just for like, something that lasted like a minute maybe, I just hold on to it. And it could take a while. It's gonna take me a while because I'm going way back to when I was first diagnosed in 2009, I think, somewhere in there. 2000. Let's see. No, it was probably about 2005 or 2006 they first started checking for it. But it was like 2008 when they finally did the MRI. And they said they didn't even need to do the contrast with it because the scarring was that noticeable. But they couldn't tell if it was scarring from where I was beat on all my life or if it was scarring from the MS. My optic neuritis is what pointed them to the MS. And I really wish I could remember the name of the doctor on call that night that caught it and sent me to the ophthalmologist to have it checked out. I really wish I could remember, but I can't. And that hospital's gone now, so I can't even go ask them for records. But that's what I'm talking about when I say that everything has changed so fast that when I can't remember things, I'm going to hold on to them for as long as possible. Every little thing. Like carrying my oldest around on my shoulders all over the place. My goodness, I carried him on my shoulders and walked for miles and didn't even think twice about it because I enjoyed being with my son that much. Remembering sleeping on the streets, under bridges, in cemeteries, all that I remember, but that was before everything happened. And then our first little crappy apartment, 1 bedroom, that we were living in when I got pregnant. And we were getting all the baby stuff together, and we had a whole collection of things. We were looking to move into a bigger apartment, and not long before we got ready to move, so I broke into our apartment and destroyed everything. It turned out it was one of my boyfriend's friends playing a joke. So funny. Just go through and destroy everything. Perfect. Because that's what normal people do. And then we'll go from that to our new apartment. And then I remember all that happened there. had my oldest, my goodness, I loved every second of it. Every little jelly roll on his body, because he was a big baby. Yeah, almost 10 pounds. He was healthy. I did everything right with him. At least I thought I did, but apparently I didn't. So I took Tylenol. Who knew? I only took things that doctors prescribed to me. Tylenol and codeine. The codeine was for the pain, along with Tylenol. There's Tylenol with codeine. And he seemed normal when he was born. Just to me, he was above average. But whatever. Now fast forward a few years when I started going to doctors to see what was wrong with me. I thought, I was just stressed. That's what I thought. I was just stressed. Turns out I wasn't healing. I was infected. The infection spread. It almost killed me a couple times. And they didn't discover everything until I gave birth to my middle child here in Kentucky. And the doctor there said that she was amazed that I didn't sue the doctor that butchered me. And she said I was butchered. And things were left behind. She said if anybody had a reason to start suing for medical malpractice, I had it. But you know what? I was just happy to be alive with my child. Then tragedy struck with my niece, and we stayed for a little bit after that. Not that long, maybe a year. And we packed up and came back because my grandma, I knew she was not doing well. I knew she wasn't going to make it long. And within a year or two of coming back, she passed. COVID and all. They blamed it on dementia, but she didn't have dementia. She might have had Alzheimer's, but not dementia. She was getting to the point where she was kind of repeating things as if it was brand new, but that was all I remember. I didn't get to see her much for a while because they said she had become angry, and they didn't want me to see her angry. They wanted me to remember her exactly how I did. And I appreciate that, but at the same time, I wish I could have said at least hi to her one more time. Or told her I loved her one more time. And then, while I was in college, I got the call saying that she passed. And that was hard. See, these are the things that have come back, and I just want to keep them for a little bit longer. Of course, I got pregnant with my daughter, and had her. My husband fell off a roof. Well, not fall. He didn't fall off the roof. He fell off a ladder and broke his heel of his foot and couldn't work for a while. So that's when I got a job and was in college. I didn't want to go back to work because I wanted to be home with my daughter the whole time. But I couldn't. I had to work because things were getting really expensive here. They removed the cap on rent. There was a cap on the rent for a while, so that they couldn't overcharge anymore, and now they're back to doing the overcharge. Like, it has gone up about $400 in the last 2 years. Yeah, about 400, maybe 5. I mean, it's getting bad. And this place isn't worth it. I mean, it's big, don't get me wrong, but it's old. It's really old. This building's almost as old as I am. Actually, might be as old as I am. It was built in the 80s. So, there's that. And you can see how it's been settling. It's not good. Got cracks all through the mortar and the brickwork on the outside. And the floors have settled so much that they're gonna have to do some sistering to the joists and lay new flooring, like the new plywood all throughout the apartment, and then new flooring, because it's bad. If anybody were to call on them, this place would be condemned. Not because it's unlivable, it's livable. It's just, it's not going to be for much longer. I give it another 5 or 10 years before it's gone, you know? And that's sad, because it was properly maintained. It would have lasted a lot longer, but it hasn't been properly maintained because they're having trouble keeping a crew together to keep it maintained. That's why I want to get my husband his licensing for it. That way he could contact them and say, you know what, I'll get a crew together and we'll keep this place maintained. Anything goes wrong, we'll get it. But there's a lot more that goes into that than it used to be. Like, he has to go to college for it. Yes, you have to go to college for carpentry to get a license to be a maintenance worker. And being that he passed his real estate class, it shouldn't have been that hard to get his construction license, maintenance, whatever. But it doesn't matter. It's over. We can't deal with that because it's been over a year. Anything over a year, it's null and void if you don't go and get the license for selling houses or blah, 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 blah. Same for me. I passed my course and then COVID hit and couldn't go in to take the test because COVID stopped us from getting in there to do it. And there's nothing I do about that. Yep. I took the test once. Was one question away from passing it, they said. And then COVID. Bam! Your life's ruined. Because somebody ate a bat. That's not what it was. But we'll keep going with that story, that narrative, whatever. I don't care. It is what it is. Anyway, the next memory I held on to, and it's going to seem so weird that this random memory popped up in my head of holding my daughter's hand and walking through the mall. Why that stood out to me so much, or why that chose to come back to me, I don't know. I really don't know. Like, of all the things that could come back, that came back. That simple thing, holding my daughter's hand. But I hold on to it as long as I can. That little hand. Her hands were tiny. Her feet were tiny. She was such a tiny baby. I wish I could go back. I really do. Because if I could go back in time, I would have stuck to my guns and said no to being a manager because it wasn't worth it. It really wasn't. I was fine being a stalker. Working 4 days a week. Fine. I was just fine with that. Because I was just making what needed to be made to make up the difference between workman's comp and what a normal paycheck would have been. so we could get food in the house when we needed it, or pay the bill, electric or gas, or whatever bill it was that popped up. It would be there. But now we're in that situation again. Not that he's got a broken bone or anything, but we're back at hard times. And I was gonna get a job, but my body won't let me at all. I randomly fall asleep because my brain's tired. My brain just can't keep going. It's been working overtime for so long. It wants to stop. It just wants to relax. And I would love to relax. But that's not in my foreseeable future. Because I have kids to take care of. I have lots of things to try to keep in my memory at all times. Because I have to be the one to remember everything. And I don't want to be anymore. I want to be the one that just gets to sit down and, play a game or eat a sandwich even. God, Lord knows. Just to eat something without thinking about anything other than that. Ooh. Will I ever have that again? Did I ever have that? No, I've never had that. But I need it. I really do. Anyway, enough reminiscing about how wonderful life would be without MS. Because MS is a hard pill to swallow. But at least I know I'm not going to die from it, necessarily. It could contribute to something that could cause me to pass. Like a fall, or as long as I have a railing to hang on to, I won't fall down the steps. But 4 flights of steps is not going to be a fun thing to tumble down. So I try to keep a hold of that rail as tight as I can. Anyway, I don't want to talk about this anymore because I don't want to think about death and all that. But I love you guys. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Remember, keep going to see your doctor regularly because you never know. If you don't, you might miss something that's really big. Love you guys.